Today we're tackling something that, well, it feels almost universal, doesn't it? Weight loss. For so long, the advice has been pretty straightforward. Eat less, move more. It's often framed like this big battle of discipline, right? Counting every single calorie, resisting temptation constantly can really feel like an uphill struggle, almost like fighting against your own body. But what if that conventional wisdom, while maybe not totally wrong, was missing a really fundamental piece of the puzzle? What if there was a deeper kind of internal mechanism at play, something that could completely reframe how we understand metabolism and fat loss? And that's really our mission today, to take a deep dive into some genuinely groundbreaking new scientific research. It hints at exactly that possibility, and it's being reported in the Economic Times and the really prestigious journal Nature Metabolism. We're talking about the body's own sort of hidden fat-burning switch, maybe lying dormant inside us, just waiting to be understood.
It is incredibly exciting, yeah. What's so fascinating here is that researchers in the US, they seem to have actually uncovered a specific biological switch, one that appears to, well, dictate metabolism. And it all centers around one particular amino acid, often overlooked, perhaps. This isn't just about, tweaking your diet externally. It's really about peeling back the layers, understanding a fundamental biological mechanism that honestly could have profound implications for our health.
It's true. I mean, for decades, the whole approach to weight management has been mainly outward looking. We track what goes in, we log our steps, we focus so much on willpower. It's all about those visible things, the inputs and output.
And look, those external factors, they're definitely part of the picture, no doubt about it. But this new study really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? The research, the one that made waves in Nature Metabolism and got picked up by the Economic Times, it suggests there's this powerful internal player inside our biology that might be way more influential than we ever realized. It points to a deep cellular process, something that could be the key to unlocking our body's own ability to manage its energy.
Okay, so if we're moving beyond just calorie counting and step tracking, what is this internal player? Who's the star of this biochemical show?
Well, the star, as you put it, is an amino acid called cysteine. Now, cysteine isn't some, exotic compound you've never heard of. It's actually one of the 20 common amino acids, a basic building block of proteins. You find it in lots of foods we eat, and it's vital for all sorts of cell functions. But this research, it's unveiled a surprisingly specific and frankly powerful role for it that goes way beyond its normal duties.
That's fascinating. Okay, so we have this common amino acid, cysteine, and the core finding is that reducing its levels, that triggers a significant transformation. What exactly is that transformation? What amazing shift happens inside us that could impact weight loss?
Well, the fundamental change, it really revolves around our fat cells. Most people think of fat as just, well, fat. But our bodies actually have two main types. First, there's white fat. That's the kind we usually think about, right? It's mainly an energy storage depot where the body puts excess calories for later.
Right, the storage stuff.
Exactly. And then we have brown fat. And this type is metabolically very different. Instead of just storing energy, brown fat is more like a tiny internal furnace. Its main job is actually to burn calories specifically to generate heat. Babies have quite a lot of it, helps them stay warm. And scientists have been trying for ages to figure out how to activate or increase brown fat in adults precisely because it burns calories.
Okay, so white stores, brown birds.
Yeah.
Got it.
Exactly. And what the study clearly shows is that when you reduce the levels of cysteine, it seems to cause this energy storing white fat to actually convert into brown fat. And this isn't just like a minor tweak. It's a fundamental reprogramming at the cellular level. Your body starts switching modes, you see, from primarily storing energy to actively burning it more efficiently. It's a really powerful insight into metabolism. Suggests a way to make your body work smarter, maybe not just harder, for fat management.
Wow, and the implications for someone trying to manage their weight. That's huge. So this process, it's not just theoretical. It directly translates into what? A boost in metabolism, promoting fat loss. It gives us a totally new way to understand why cutting calories might lead to weight loss. It's not just less energy coming in, maybe. It's about how your body processes and stores that energy deep down at the cell level. It suggests our bodies have this internal switch that when you flip it, it changes the very nature of our fat. This sounds incredibly promising, almost too good to be true, maybe. But how did the researchers actually figure this out? Pinpoint cysteine's role. What was the scientific journey here? Because this wasn't just a casual observation, I assume.
No, definitely not. The scientific proof is actually quite compelling. It comes from some pretty sophisticated trials involving both human participants and animal models. For the human studies, they took an incredibly detailed approach. Very meticulous. They collected fat tissue samples from people who had stuck to a calorie-restricted diet for a whole year. And doing it for a year is really crucial. It lets you see long-term changes, not just quick
A
reactions.
full year.
Yeah. And what they did next was, well, pretty remarkable. They meticulously analyzed thousands of metabolites. These are all the little chemical compounds made when your body processes food, like a biochemical fingerprint. And across all those thousands of compounds, one thing consistently stood out. It was depleted, significantly lower in those people who had successfully managed the calorie restriction. And that was cysteine. It was this clear pattern, like a signal through the noise, pointing to cysteine's role in these long-term metabolic shifts.
Okay, so cysteine depletion was the consistent finding.
Exactly. And as Dr. Eric Ravison, who leads the Human Translational Physiology Lab at Pennington Biomedical, he put it nicely, he said this was a reverse translation of a human caloric restriction trial that identified a new player in energy metabolism. That reverse translation idea is key, you see. Starting with what happens in humans, then digging down to find the molecular why.
Right, starting with the human results and working backwards to the mechanism.
Mhm.
Makes sense. So the human data pointed strongly towards cysteine. But to really confirm it, that it causes the change, they also looked at animal models. What did those studies show? Did they back up the human findings?
They did, yeah. The animal models, specifically using mice, were absolutely critical for understanding that cause and effect relationship. When they induced systemic cysteine depletion in these mice, what happened? Significant weight loss. But more importantly, it wasn't just about losing weight overall. It came along with increased use of fat for energy and, crucially, the browning of adipocytes. That's the scientific term for those white fat cells turning into the calorie-burning brown fat cells.
So they saw the actual conversion happening in the mice.
Precisely. That direct observation in animals gave really powerful confirmation for the mechanism that the human studies suggested. It showed a clear physiological link. Reduce cysteine, enhance fat metabolism, promote browning. And Dr. Thomas Stadler, he's the director of the Oxidative Stress and Disease Laboratory, also at Pennington Biomedical, he highlighted cysteine's wider role too. He explained it's central to redox balance and redox pathways in biology.
Redox balance. Okay, can you simplify that a bit?
Yeah, sure. Without getting too deep into the chemistry, think of redox balance like the body's internal cleanup crew. It manages all the chemical reactions that produce energy, but it also has to neutralize potentially harmful byproducts from those reactions. Cysteine plays a really important part in keeping that whole system running smoothly. So when you adjust its levels, it clearly affects things downstream, including metabolism. And Dr. Stadler noted that these results suggest, and this is a quote, future weight management strategies that might not rely exclusively on reducing caloric intake.
Wow. That is a profound statement, not just about cutting calories.
Exactly. It hints at a completely different approach down the line.
Okay, this is genuinely exciting. So what does this all mean for us, for listeners, and for the bigger picture? The whole public health challenge of obesity, which we know is tied to diabetes, heart disease, it feels like we're always searching for solutions that actually stick.
Well, this discovery is potentially hugely significant because it opens up a pathway that could work with the body's natural processes. Instead of constantly feeling like you're fighting against them with external restrictions, like diets, we know from, countless studies that sticking to really extreme diets long-term, it's incredibly difficult for most people. Our bodies are kind of wired to resist that chronic deprivation, often leads to that rebound weight gain we hear about.
Yeah, the yo-yo effect.
Right. So by targeting cysteine levels, future therapies and I stress, might be able to promote weight loss and improve metabolic health. By essentially, flipping that internal switch we talked about without relying solely on the really tough discipline that so many current approaches demand, it's about using our own biology more intelligently, understanding those internal levers. Imagine supporting weight loss by optimizing a natural process in the body instead of just forcing an artificial deficit.
That really highlights a fundamental shift in understanding, doesn't it? Moving beyond just counting calories in versus calories out. It tells us metabolism can be influenced at this much more intricate cellular level. It completely reshapes how we view the body's energy balance. It suggests our bodies are these complex dynamic systems with these incredibly clever kind of hidden controls we're only just starting to figure out.
Precisely. But it is really crucial to offer a balanced perspective here. While these findings are incredibly promising and they open up a whole new research avenue, A lot more work is definitely needed before any of this can translate into, say, direct medical treatments or interventions you can just get. The path from a lab discovery to a safe, effective treatment for the public, it's often a long one.
Right.
It involves extensive clinical trials, confirming safety, effectiveness, the right dosage.
Right. Need to make sure it's safe and actually works reliably in people.
Absolutely. We need to understand how to precisely and safely adjust cysteine levels in humans and what other long-term effects that might have. It's complex.
Of course, science takes time. That's important context. But even with that necessary caution, it does end on such a hopeful note, doesn't it? To quote the source again, weight loss may one day be less about deprivation and more about harnessing the body's own biology. End quote. That really is a future worth looking forward to, working with our bodies instead of always struggling against them. So just quickly recap this deep dive then. We've explored this incredible potential of targeting one specific amino acid, cysteine, using it to unlock the body's own natural fat-burning abilities. The idea that we could convert that energy-storing white fat into calorie-burning brown fat, basically reprogramming our metabolism at a cellular level, that's a truly exciting frontier in metabolic research.
It absolutely is. And it leaves us with a really thought-provoking question, right? If our bodies have these intricate hidden switches for something as basic as metabolism and storing fat, what other biological levers might scientists uncover in the future? What other complex internal systems are just waiting to be understood? Systems that could completely revolutionize how we approach health and wellness, moving us beyond just managing symptoms to maybe truly optimized biological function.
It really does make you think. It encourages us all to broaden our perspective,
Hmm.
moving beyond just focusing externally on diet and exercise, important as they are. It's about truly appreciating the amazing internal chemistry that dictates so much of our health and the incredible possibilities that lie ahead as we keep unlocking the secrets within our own biology. What a fascinating deep dive into the potential future of health and wellness.